Hello, everybody. How you all doing? So you're doing great. Hi, Jack, in the chat. Who else is in the chat? Hi. I can't pronounce your name. I'll just put you on the screen. I don't even know how to even say that. But hi. Steve's in. Hi, Steve. So, right, what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to play you the first part of my video from a few days ago. The video entitled Leeches on the Patriot Movement. I'm going to play you the first section because it's very important. Because I think what a lot of people have done is that they've just looked at the title of the video and they've just formulated their own opinion on it and not even watched the video and just concluded completely wrongly what I've said in that video. But I want to point something out as well. Tell me if you can hear this. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear this okay in the chat, the video I'm about to play. Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Apologise for the wind noise. You get the wind noise. Oh, every time I go on camera, the deer appears. Yeah, the wind noise will disappear in a minute, by the way. As bluntly as I possibly can. There are grifters within our movement. No doubts about it. Right, I'll start that again from that point because I want to make it clear because a lot of people have been, well, I'll go into it after I've played this because I think it's important. How you all doing? Apologise for the wind noise. You get the wind noise. Oh, every time I go on camera, the deer appears. So I'm just going to come out and say this as bluntly. Right, this is the point I want everybody to pay attention to. It's from this point onwards. Pay attention to what I say at the beginning of the video. Possibly can. There are grifters within our movement. No doubts about it whatsoever. And like I said before, I'm sure many of you know who they are, and no doubt many of you will be naming them in the comments. The reason this, I've got no issues with anybody making money from YouTube. I really haven't. I haven't at all. If you want to make content and make money from what you do, that's all well and good. What I have an issue with is taking from the movement and then giving nothing back. That's what that. Right. So that point there, from the very beginning of the video, I'm setting out criteria as to who I'm talking about within this video. So logically thinking, right, if you're listening to that video and you are giving back to the Patriot community, then you automatically exclude yourself from that video. You assume that I'm not talking about you because you're giving back to the Patriot community. I stated at the beginning of that video, I have no issues with anybody making money from YouTube or anything like that. Because the sort of stuff that we talk about exempts you from regular work anyway, because the majority of employers are completely woke, and if they find out you're right wing, you haven't got a chance of being employed by them. Or if you are employed by them, it's a pretty good chance they're going to find some way of getting rid of you. So I've got no issues with that at all. No issues with that at all. Anybody making money from YouTube because they can't make a living because of what they're doing, their activism and stuff like that, that's fair enough. That's perfectly okay. I also state within that video at the very beginning, I set out the criteria. I state my issue is with people who take more out of the movement than put in. Yeah? So at the beginning of the video, that's setting the criteria. You know that I'm not talking about you. If you're giving back to the community, if you're putting just as much back into the Patriot movement as you're taking out, I've got no issues with you. That's stated at the very beginning of the video. So what I think has happened is, I think certain individuals within the Patriot movement have taken that out of context. They've not shown that first part of the video, and they've just pointed to the latter part. What was interesting for me yesterday was that certain entities within the Patriot movement thought I was talking about them when it was just a general video. I deliberately didn't talk or mention names about individuals for a very, very good reason. And that reason is because I'm not attacking the people, I'm attacking the action. I'm addressing the issue rather than attacking the people. Because attacking the people is pointless, because the minute you do that, you get into tribalism and all that sort of thing. If you attack the action, you're highlighting it and you're doing it equally. It's like, well, you need to look at the whole Patriot movement as a whole, and you decide yourselves who is doing this that I'm talking about in this video. That's what I did it for. It also, I didn't have a chance to really explain myself very well yesterday in the video I did yesterday. When I said, if the cap fits, where is it? It's very much that sort of video. If the cap fits, wear it. If it doesn't, it's nothing to do with you. It's as simple as that. I thought I credited people with logical thinking, that watching the first part of that video, it would automatically exclude lots of people straight away. And it would just narrow down to those people that I was, talking about. But no. The interesting thing is that certain entities within the Patriot movement thought I was talking about them. And like I said in the video yesterday, that says more about you and your guilty conscience than anything I said in my video, because I wasn't singling any one particular person out. Now, I was talking about many people in that video. I mean, when I was talking about the live streaming side of things, I've noticed recently, and I was going to make a video on this completely, a full video on this, of so-called patriots, and they're not patriots, they're just fake AI channels. I've seen a lot of them popping up, a lot of them popped up during the riots of last year. You've probably seen them about, there's one channel called The Indian Times, one was called Britain's in Chaos. They're blatantly AI channels, and they steal Patriots content and rehash it using AI and spit it out in another video format. They're using the footage. They use the footage from Patriots videos, but it's usually given a clickbait title as well to draw people in. And when you go and watch the video, it's just absolute shite. It doesn't make any sense. It's just to draw people in and get the clicks. And I suspect it could be, criminal gangs trying to siphon off money, that sort of thing, doing it that way. There are those individuals out there that steal streamers' content when they're live streaming out in the field. They'll have multiple streams. They'll be sharing multiple streams on their live stream, making money off the back of other individuals, and raking in the super chats off of that as well. That's what I was highlighting. I should have been more clear, but I didn't really want to name names because people would have known who I was talking about. They would have. But that's what I was talking about in that instance. I've noticed that a lot recently. I noticed it a lot more on when was it? The Unite the Kingdom rally on Saturday. There were lots of knocking about that. They were stealing a lot of people's live streams. You can see him, there's just one person in the corner. He's got multiple streams playing in his live stream, and the super chats flying up, leeching off the backs of actual patriots who are on the ground, risking their own lives. They are risking their own lives. If you get in with Antifa, you are risking your life. And that's what pissed me off. Stealing the live streams of others and then getting the super chats and making out you some kind of patriot. It's bollocks, it's bullshit. Just because they couldn't be bothered to get off their own arses and, go down there and do a live stream. So they steal those of others. I don't watch people I don't like, Jack. I don't watch Paul Thorpe. I don't watch Richard Inman. I don't watch any of them. I don't watch any of them. What they do is up to them. Fair enough. British stand as 260,000 subscribers.
and all his content is totally based on other live streams. I can't comment on that. I know at one point he was actually he was affiliated with My2C. He had him as a was it a stand-in presenter on his thing? I don't know what happened there because I don't even know if he's doing it anymore. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. British Stand used AI. Yeah, I noticed that, Steve. Let me boost up a little bit so I can enlarge the screen. Just so I can read this on the thing. British Stand used an AI voice initially until he got confidence to do a face to camera. So I think that's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not British Stand. I think he got his big boost from working for My2C for a bit. I'm not sure if they're still affiliated. I don't know whether he's working on his My2C. But there you go. Yeah, Steve. I think My2C and British Stand, they're more or less the same sort of channel, aren't they? They're the same sort of channel. He's doing the same sort of thing, same sort of format. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Because what amazed me was that how quickly elements within the Patriot movement jumped to the conclusion that I was speaking about them. That's what I found interesting. When if you watch the beginning of the video, you'd know that, yeah, I'm only talking about the people that aren't giving back to the Patriot movement. So that immediately excludes anybody that is giving back to the Patriot movement. I did it deliberately to separate, without mentioning names, to separate people from the ones I was talking about. That's why I did it for. I just assumed people would have the logic and mind to watch the video and think, right, he's not talking about me because he's just stated that he's only talking about the people that take out but don't give back to the movement. So there you go. Right, so now I've cleared that up, let's talk about the despicable actions of Thames Valley Police and their harassment of an American citizen with cancer, going round to a house and asking her to apologise for social media post, harassing her for a social media post and saying that if she didn't apologise, then she would face an investigation. I think we can all agree that this is the line drawn in the sand, isn't it, really, regarding this? It really is now. Just going to pause this a minute. I'm going to mute the microphone for a minute. Sorry, guys. We've got a parcel delivery. And we're back. I just had to deal with a parcel delivery. So yeah, they are a piece of shit, Jack. Thames Valley Police. I couldn't believe when I've seen it. This is obviously, this is going to be a line drawing the sand now. This has got to be the lowest they can possibly go. The police, isn't it? And this reflects badly on the police as a whole, because you know for certain that this could be any police force in the country now doing this sort of thing. It really could. Well, what a surprise! The police have now accidentally lost the report. They're a joke at this point, aren't they? You know, if there's any police officers out there watching this live stream, you should question what you're doing now. You really need to question what you're doing. And you know, I'm guessing that you joined the police force to make a difference, and you honour the oath of the police force. Steve will probably say the same as me. The oath has taken a back seat with the police force. They obviously don't honour their oath anymore, or they wouldn't be carrying out these actions. And this is a prime case of questioning your orders, because if you're asked to go out and see a terminally ill cancer patient for social media posts and then threaten her with an investigation if she doesn't apologize, and I don't even think they told her what posts she was supposed to apologize for, so she just had to make a random apology. It's insane. It's absolutely insane that they must see that these laws, these laws. Steve will agree with me, right? The Malicious Communications Act was originally brought in to protect people from stalking, from stalkers. That's what it was done for. It was to stop nuisance phone calls, to stop harassment. But it's been absolutely made nebulous, the Malicious Communications Act. So nobody knows where the boundaries of it are. It's so nebulous because it differs from person to person and from police force to police force. Some police forces may investigate a social media post that they deem as offensive, whilst others won't. So nobody really knows where they stand regarding free speech. And it's done deliberately. It's done deliberately. It's done deliberately. So you question yourself every time you think about making a comment online. 9 times out of 10, how many of you in the chat have been thinking about posting something on social media, typed it out, and then thought, well, is that crossing the line? And then deleted it? How many of you have actually done that? Give me a thumbs up. How many people have done that and thought twice and thought, yeah, I'm not going to post that because I'm not sure whether that crosses the line or not? If you've done that, that's exactly what these nebulous laws are designed to do. They're designed to make you question what you're saying, to constantly question yourself all the time. We don't have free speech in this country. We do not have free speech in this country anymore. If you look at American law, it's clearly defined in the Constitution what is classed as free speech and what is classed as incitement. J.D. Vance himself came on camera and said, we have clear definitions. It was Charlie Kirk. Was it Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk said it himself as well. He said, we have clear definitions of what is incitement. And you have to state a specific location, a specific person for it to be inciting violence. If you don't do that, then it's not inciting violence because you're just making a general comment. In America, you have to make a direct connection between what you've said and an action taking place. So you would say, right, I want such and such to be attacked or burnt down, and then people go out and do it. That would be incitement to violence. That would be a clear incitement to violence. You know, you look at Lucy Conley, she didn't say that. She didn't clearly incite any violence at all. Ricky Jones, clear incitement to violence, exactly. Clear incitement to violence. He was at a rally, he said, go and unalive these certain group of people, making the slit the throat gesture. That's clear incitement to violence. Yet, no action taken. No action taken against him. Look at the Labour MP. This is what I found amazing. You know, I forget when it was now. It was a long time ago, well, a few months ago. The Labour MP that beat up a constituent on the street. Clear physical, you know, he was on the floor. His constituent was on the floor and he was repeatedly punching him whilst on the floor. Didn't see a day in prison because he was the right kind of political person, because he was a member of the Labour Party. Didn't face any time in jail whatsoever. Yet you've got people that are, I mean, look at the guy recently, again, I can't remember his name. This is, you know, what was he, 33-year-old, chanted, Allah, Allah, who the F is Allah, given, was it 32 months in prison? And yet in the same courtroom, some jihadist was given a lenient sentence. And then people say, yeah, there's that. This is the one, Steve. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Again, Mike Ainsbury from Emerald. Yeah, yeah. The guy got 30 months in jail for that. Yet we're getting people that are committing sexual assaults that are getting less, that are getting suspended sentences because, according to courts, they didn't know what they were doing. You know, I always thought that ignorance of the law was no defense. Apparently it is, if you're a certain demographic of people. Like I said before, though, it might say that, but the fact of the matter is, it's been repealed. It's been overwritten by Acts of Parliament and modern law. You know, we look at Graham Moore when he says we've got an unwritten constitution. Look at all these laws that, you know, we can use. We can't use them because they've been repealed. They've been replaced by modern law and modern acts. You need to repeal lots and lots of modern legislation to make them legal again. That's the issue. This is why we need a written constitution. I'm constantly having this argument with people at the minute because people say, we already have a constitution. Yes, but great swaths of it are no longer active. They're no longer applicable in law. They've been repealed and replaced. So yeah, we do have an unwritten constitution, but it's useless. It's useless at the minute until we can make it and bring it, ratify it, and make it legitimate again. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. Yeah, voided. Yeah, it's been voided, not repealed. It's been voided by modern law. So basically, you would need a written constitution. And I would say any party that's not offering a written constitution, don't vote for them, because that's what we need. We need protection from what's happening now in this country from ever happening again. That's the reason. That's why the Americans, well, we say Americans, but the people who wrote the American Constitution were British. They were the British rebels, and they understood that they never wanted to be under a tyranny like they were under a tyranny from the tyrant king at the time, King George, I believe it was King George. Yeah, they understood the necessity for that. And this is what we need to do now. We need to understand the necessity that we no longer want to be under tyrants anymore. So we need a written constitution with a Bill of Rights, a First Amendment, a Second Amendment to protect the Constitution if necessary. That's what we need. Controversial, this might be, the monarchy needs to go. The monarchy needs to go. The government needs to serve the people, not the monarchy. That's just the way I look at it now. The monarchy has been infiltrated and corrupted. King Charles is all a part of the globalists in Davos. So are his sons. We can't trust any of the monarchy. They're not coming to save you. They're not. None of them are. As I pointed this out in previous live streams and videos, King Charles was a co-founder of the World Economic Forum. So he's not going to dissolve Parliament and go against the ideology he helped create, the globalists. He's not going to do that. Simple as that. We need to become a republic. A democratic republic like America. That's what we need to become, where everybody's rights are protected under law, under constitutional law. So this can never happen again. This needs to be, a turning point in history. It really does. Everybody's been talking about this needs to be a turning point. It's a turning point in history. It does. A turning point in British history where we say the way we've been governed isn't working anymore. It simply isn't. It gives all the power to the politicians in Parliament and none of the power to the people, because the minute they get elected, they can do whatever the hell they want. There are literally no checks or balances to keep them in check. If you get a packed Parliament with quislings and traitors, then you're screwed. You're screwed for literally 5 years. In 5 years, a lot of damage can be done to your country. Look at it. Look at what's happened to our country. 14 years of the same shit from the Uniparty. And what's it left us with? We before 1997, we were a respected first world country. In that time frame from 1997 till present day, our country has become a third world shithole. We've become a low trust country. We were a high trust country at one time. It's a low trust country now. That's what's happened. We are virtually a third world shithole because we imported the third world. We became the third world. Diversity is only a strength if you're diversifying it with things that make you strong. I think we've proven that multiculturalism has failed. It has failed utterly in this country. Just want to make this clear, right? Be careful what you talk about in the chat. Yeah. So I ask, say, you can come with arguments, you can say, well, be careful what you talk about. And I'm not saying, I'm saying this for the channel's sake, I'm saying it for your sake. There will be people watching that will come after you. I just, for your own sake, I don't want you getting your door kicked in. Yeah. Just take that into consideration. It's obvious now to see that, yeah. It's obviously why that. See, Tony Blair got rid of the death penalty for treason. Yeah. Because let's face it, if you know you're going to commit treason, you want to get rid of the only law that would hold you to account for it. They didn't want to die for it. They knew going in what they were going to do. They were going to commit treason against this country. Every single government that's been since Tony Blair has committed treason against this country. They've sold their own people out for money and power. And that is the definition of treason, isn't it? So what will it actually do to change things? The bottom line. I think we all know, I can't say on here, but we all know where all this is heading. Where does it ever end, right? When you have a dictator, a tyrant in power, or a government that is, let's face it, even if Keir Starmer goes, we're still going to be left with a shit Labour regime, aren't we? No matter who gets the job, it's always going to be shit, and it's just going to get progressively worse. So that's what we're left with, isn't it? You know where this is heading. You know where this path is taking us. Because if these people keep doubling down and doubling down and doubling down, I don't think it's really going to kick off until next year. Because they haven't had a winter yet, another winter, where all these new rules and regulations have come into play. It's going to kick off. It's going to kick off. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to kick off. Let's have a look. I have to keep enlarging it because I can't see the screen. It's that small on this thing. But yeah. Oh yeah. Saturday we've got the new laptop coming, so that's going to be interesting. Depending on what time it comes and how long it takes me to set it up, we're doing a live stream. So we'll be testing it out to see if we can start playing the videos in the live streams Vin, did you see the rotten politics last video? Labour's Minister for Court stood up in Parliament and said, we need to adopt Sharia countrywide in the name of political tolerance. Yeah, of course, that was always going to come in. It's just them pandering to the Muslim vote again, isn't it? And it's to no avail, because at the next general election, the independent Muslim parties are establishing themselves. We've already got some in Parliament already, and it's just going to grow. The next general election, you're going to see a lot of the Muslims just rejecting Labour. They're going to start voting for these new independent Muslim parties to get them into Parliament. They're in for a big shock. All this appeasement, all this pandering to these people is not going to pay off. You know, look at what happened in Iran, in the revolution over there. What happened? The Islamists and the communists were in hand. The socialists, communists were in hand, all the way up through the revolution. As soon as they took over, as soon as the Islamists took over, what did they do? They killed all the communists. The same thing's going to happen here. You know, you've got the Islamists and the communists hand in hand again in an alliance, and they're just going to drop them like a hotcake. Once they've established their presence in Parliament, Labour will be of no more use to them. It's the only reason that you see them tolerating pride marches along with the pro-Palestine marches. It serves their purpose at this moment in time. As soon as they become an annoyance, and as soon as they become irrelevant and no longer needed, they'll ditch them. And then these people that have been supporting them will find out what Islamists are all about regarding the LGBT community. There's already been altercations where they've said, we don't want you part of our rallies, get out. And they've been homophobic and all that thing against them. So they've had a taster already, big taster of it. Yeah, exactly. Lebanon too. Wherever they go. This is why Middle Eastern countries that surround Palestine don't allow Palestinian refugees into their country, because the minute you let them in, they cause trouble. They start forming terror cells. They start trying to overthrow the government where they've been taken in. That's why there's a big wall around Egypt's border with Palestine. They don't let them in. Full stop. Every time you let them in, there's trouble. There's terrorist movements, terror attacks, because they want their own way. Seeing what I can see in the chat. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I've covered this in a live stream before. Some would say it started at the end of the First World War, the decline, because of, you know, the debt that we accrued during that war. That was the beginning of the end of the British Empire, the end of the First World War. And then the Second World War came up, which was a war we had to fight, but that finishes off. That more or less guaranteed, that war guaranteed we had to give up our empire, that war. And then after that, steadily after the Second World War, that was the decline of this country. That's what began the decline of this country. The planning stages of it came after. But yeah, it's been planned for decades. Absolute decades. What is message? What? So everyone's getting messages on my phone. What that was. Switch that off. Right. The National Front was what with former Kate. Jack. Right, Jack. How many times do we have to go over this? Look, I'm going to give you some homework, Jack, right? I want you to go out there and research the BNP. I want you to go out there and research the National Front. Yeah? Because once you've researched these two political entities, you'll understand why they didn't take off. Yeah? he's. I don't think Jack minds me saying this, but I think it's obvious, and I think Jack will admit it himself that Jack's on the autistic spectrum, and so doesn't understand sometimes certain concepts. He doesn't, and I kind of give him a bit of leeway in that. But yeah, there's reasons why those two political entities didn't take off in this country, and it's got a lot to do with hero worship of the Austrian painter with one ball, shall we say. Yeah, and this is what the left is confused. This is what they get confused about. There is nothing. Nationalists are proud of their country, their culture, their heritage. They want to conserve it. They want to conserve their way of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you went to any other country with a lefty and you asked them, say you went to Africa, any of the African nations, you say these people are very patriotic. They want to conserve their culture and their way of life. You know, these lefties would agree with that. They would say, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they need to conserve their heritage and their culture. Then you bring them back to this country and you say to them, well, the English, the Scottish, the Welsh, they want to preserve their cultures and their way of life. No, you can't do that. That's racist. That's xenophobic. That's the double standard that they have. They don't understand that double standard. They don't understand the difference between ethno-nationalism and just plain nationalism. They don't get it. You know, ethno-nationalism has a racial element to it. Nationalism doesn't. I mean, I'm of the mind, you come to this country, you respect our laws, you don't try to change our culture, you don't try to change our traditions, you don't expect us to appease your beliefs, you accept everything about our country, or you leave, or we kick you out. I'm fully behind that. I'm fully behind that now. If you don't respect our laws, our culture, our way of life, leave if you don't like it. It's that simple. It really is. Yeah. He's been in the live chat before when I did a live chat, and you know, my son has autism, so I can recognize it in people when they're talking and stuff. You know, Jack has valid points sometimes, but when he starts talking about this, he doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand because I don't think he's actually researched what the BNP is or what the National Front is. And that's why I say to him, go and do your research. Go and research these things. Go and look it up on the internet. Read about what these people actually are. And then you'll understand why they didn't take off in this country. Why, Jack? Why? Don't just say things, explain yourself. Explain your reasoning, think about what you're going to say, and then say it. Yeah? Why? The art of the insult is being taken away from our culture. Yep. Yeah, but they may be still around, but they're very, very fringe. They're never going to do anything. They will never do anything. If the far right bogeyman, right? If you actually went out and rounded all up the actual far right people in this country, you wouldn't be able to fill a car park, a small car park. That's the point. There you go, Jack. Heed the warning, Jack. Calm down and just listen to what people are saying to you. Listen. Don't react, just listen. Yeah, exactly. There's a reason, Jack, why they're on the fringe of politics. So look at some more of the chat. So what else has been going on? We've got the visit from President Trump at the minute, and we had the usual lefties. That was curious the other day though. They had, was it a dinner somewhere? The first day was there, and some climate lunatic managed to get in and get close to where they were, actually in the building. And I put a tweet out. I said, how the hell did they get through the security net? Because I'm assuming it's going to be massive. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, well, the security net is, maybe it was laxed to allow them in. You don't know, to make a scene. I wouldn't put anything past these people anymore. I wouldn't put anything past the Starmer regime. Nice banquet. Maybe we can embarrass President Trump by having some nutjob protester skip through the security net. I wouldn't put anything past these people. They're pathological liars. They're not to be trusted. Hello, Choose to Change. How are you doing? Welcome. Right. I'm not going to repeat the first part of the live stream because obviously we're nearly an hour into it, but I'll just go over it briefly without playing the things I played. So I played the beginning of my video, the other day, where I was talking about leeches on the Patriot movement. Now, at the beginning of that video, I made it clear who I was talking about. I stated at the beginning that I had no issues with anybody making money from YouTube. None at all. That's their business. What I had an issue with was people taking out of the Patriot movement and not giving anything back. That's what I had an issue with. And I said that at the beginning of the video. So I was very shocked and surprised when elements within the Patriot movement thought I was talking about them. When I clearly stated at the beginning of the video that I was only talking about the people who I thought were taking more than their fair share out of the movement and giving nothing back. Now, anybody with a logical brain would put two and two together and think, well, I do put lots back into the movement, so he's not talking about me. I credit people with intelligence to understand that that statement alone exempts anybody that is putting back into the movement. If you're putting back into the movement, into the Patriot movement, you're excluded from being talked about in that video. That's a given from the very beginning, isn't it? Let's have a look. Yeah, Alex Bell. To be honest with you, Alex Belfield is his own worst enemy. He is. He's his own worst enemy. Alex Belfield was the first victim of this new crackdown. He's just been sent back to prison after allegedly breaching his license conditions. Is it smart though, right? I know some people might say, yeah, he's pushing the boundaries of free speech. He's pushing back against these restrictions. But is that smart? Would it have been smarter to just stay within the restrictions and be smart about it and word the things that he's saying rather than just get yourself put back in prison? What is it? He's not coming back out to, I think it's, is it 2028 now? He's got to serve his full term. He's got to go back into prison. 2028. Was it really worth it? You've got to pick your battlefields. You've got to pick your battlegrounds and the battles you know that you can win. If you can't win the battle, then keep your powder dry. Keep yourself in reserve. Watch and listen. That's what you need to do. Only pick the battles you know you can win. Let's have a look. Man thrives. He's Tommy did it to make a point. He did to get views. Okay. The Belfield, he'll be marked man in jail. That CEO will lick the shit off him for practice. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan of him. I'm really not a fan of him. I didn't watch him. You know, I watched him during the lockdown, and I found him annoying to listen to. And that might just be me. It might just be my personal preference. I found him annoying to listen to. He came across as a children's TV presenter. He came across as patronising to his audience or overly fake persona. You know what I mean? That's what made him sound like a children's TV presenter, because they have that over bloated, hyped up persona that they put on for the camera. It's like that, you know, like the babying their audience sort of thing, trying to keep them interested because they know kids have low attention spans, so they've got to be larger than life to keep kids' attention spans. And he just annoyed me. I couldn't watch him. What his stuff was saying, what the things he was saying was right. I just couldn't listen to him. It was his presentation that, you know, did it for me. Yeah, I found him annoying in the lockdown. Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started on him. Benjamin Butterworth. So it sounds like he sounds like a children's TV presenter, doesn't he? Benjamin Butterworth. Exactly. He couldn't let it go. He just couldn't let it go. Right, let's read this out. I've got to keep enlarging the screen because it's so small on this laptop. Right. The BNP were an official party. They had councillors, MEPs, and over 1 million people voted for them in a general election. They were nationalists, not ultra-nationalists. I disagree with that. Yagdrol. They had a very racial element. They tried to put on a smart new face, but it didn't work. They had a very big racial element to them. They did. And I think they only got, they got councillors, but they didn't last long. I think they only lasted 1 term in office, and then they were voted out. So yeah, they were an official party, but for the same reasons, nobody will vote for the National Front. Nobody will vote for the BNP for the very same reasons. I want to make it clear. Okay, this is probably why I lock antlers with most of the political commentators on YouTube, because I'm firmly on the right of politics. That's where I am. I'm on the right of politics, and a lot of the political commentators we have on YouTube and other places are centre right. Now, I'm different again from centre right people. I don't think we're going to win anything from the centre ground. It's too wishy-washy. It's too liberal, in my opinion. You need politics for the time that you're living in, and centre right politics isn't the right politics for the time we're living in. You've got to look at who's in Parliament. The majority of Parliament is hard left. It's hard left. They're basically socialists and communists in Parliament. I'm talking about the Conservatives, Liberal Democrats, and the Labours, the Greens. They're all hard left, communist ideology. They are. So to combat that, what do you do to combat that? Do you send in a weak centre-right party that is just going to get trampled all over because they're always trying to compromise with people that won't compromise? Or do you send in a hard right wing party that is just going to go in there and just take no nonsense. Now, everybody knows how I feel about party politics. I hate it. It's tribalistic, and I think we're moving away from it. I think people are sick and tired of it. I get comments all the time in the chat saying, be a part of a party, join a party, be a member. No, I'd advise everybody from doing that. Don't join a party. Vote for them if you agree with them, but don't join them, because that's tribalistic. You need to treat political parties like you treat utility companies, like you treat your gas, your electric, that sort of thing, your internet provider. So what do you do if your gas, electric, or internet provider gives you a shit service? What do you do with them? You swap, don't you? You get rid of them. And that's the same thing you should do with political parties. If you vote for them and they don't deliver what you want them to deliver, you dump them, you swap, you find something better. That's what you do. Or you create something better. You get behind something and create something better yourself. That's the danger in joining a political party, because it can become an echo chamber and you can be radicalized. You can become tribalistic with them. That's what's happened with the Conservatives and the Labour Party. This is why we constantly get Labour and Conservatives, because of tribal voting. Their parents voted for the Labour Party, so the children vote for the Labour Party. And it goes on and on and on and on, and nothing ever changes. We need to move away from that. If you see parties on your ballot paper and you think, well, they're all shit, vote for your independent. Vote for your independent candidate, because that will send them a message. Hopefully, enough people will think, well, they're all shit, I'm going to vote for the independent candidate. You have to start thinking smartly and not thinking like a tribe. Exactly. They don't give a shit. They only care about, well, they only pretend to care about the electorate on the run up to an election. When their jobs are on the line, that's when they care the most. Pretend to care the most, I will say. And then as soon as the election's over, they're back to their own selves. They've got their expense account in Parliament. They've got their expense account. They've got their cushy job in Parliament where they can literally do fuck all if they want to. They can literally do nothing and just allow the status quo to happen. Yeah, they're all pushing it. They're all pushing it. I mean, he's changed his tune again because the situation's changed. But during the lockdown, you've got Tony Blair saying we need digital ID to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't. Now the situation has changed, hasn't it? It's changed again. Now he's saying, well, we need to have digital ID to see who's illegal and who isn't. Well, there's a pretty good way of actually determining that going forward without digital ID. And it's called putting all the fuckers in detention camps and not allowing them to mingle into public. You know exactly where they are. And if they kick off, you know what you do? You have it in big letters on a placard in the detention camp with barbed wire around it, with the soldiers guarding them. You have it in big letters. If you try and attempt to burn down this encampment, if you try and cause trouble here, the whole camp will be deported the same day. You will all go. You force them to police themselves. So anybody trying to cause trouble within the camps, yeah, he's trying to cause trouble. Deport him. That's what you do. It's a no-nonsense approach. And the ones that are coming across, the ones that make landfall, you stick them in detention camps, you feed them prison food. You let them live in tents outside in the British winter. That's what you do, because we simply have no room for them in prisons. That's what you do. That's the deterrent. And then you just start turning the boats back. You put a big fuck off British battleship in the channel, like what the Australians did, and started turning the boats back. They will stop coming. Firstly, though, before any of that, you cut all the benefits. Say, right, yeah, you're not getting hotels, you're not getting free phones, you're not getting free laptops, All that shit is stopping. You're going to be put in a detention camp, in a tent, in the dead of winter, in Scotland somewhere, where it's freezing. We'll make you comfortable. We'll give you a sleeping bag. You'll get prison food, and that's it. I know it won't happen, Martin. I know it won't happen, but that's what needs to happen. You know, instead of me just like coming out and just saying that won't work, this won't work. I'm trying to give solutions. I always give solutions when I pull something apart. That's the solution. That's the common sense solution in all this. We all know it's not going to happen. And if you look at all the parties that are in Parliament, or the ones that have got any chance of getting into Parliament, they're just not strong enough. They won't implement any of this. They won't. If you capture all these people and you put them in a camp, you know where they are. That way you can go through them all. You can take their biometrics. Take the biometrics, because if they have done anything untoward, you can bet your bottom dollar they'll be on an international database somewhere, or a intelligence service database, that they've been involved in terrorism. That's why in Iraq, when we caught potential insurgents, we did their biometrics. We took their fingerprints. We took their retinal information, because some of the little shits will try and burn off their fingerprints with acid. And that in itself is a red flag. If you've got someone that comes in and you don't know who they are, and they've got no fingerprints because they burnt them off with acid, that's a pretty good red flag that they've done shit in the past that they don't want people to know about, or they're trying to hide something. And you can bet your bottom dollar that there'll be quite a few of those type of people in a hotel just down the road from you. That was a sure sign. That was a massive red flag. And they stopped doing it eventually, because they knew, yeah, you've burnt your fingertips off. Why have you done that? Biometrics, check them all, even if they don't have any ID. And it should be law anyway. This should be law anyway. If you enter the country illegally, you can't claim asylum. You're going back. That should be it. So when they say, oh, we need to process them, right, everybody that comes over, we take all their biometric data, all that information goes on the database. It's not so we can give them asylum. It's not so that we can find out if they're good or bad. They're going back anyway. This is what I would do. You're going back anyway. You've entered the country illegally. You're going back anyway. But we're going to take all your biometric data. We're going to take your fingerprints. We're going to take your retinal scan, and we're going to put it on a database. And then you deport them. That's what you do. And like people have said, it's not going to happen. This is what any sane, rational government would be doing. But we don't have a sane, rational government. We don't have a sane, rational political class. These people are all bought and paid for. All of them. Bar one, Rupert Lowe. Deeply disappointed in Rupert Lowe for not turning up to the United Kingdom rally. Deeply disappointed in that. Kind of says a lot about his character, his actions. This is what I keep saying. It's actions. Not what you say, it's your actions. And that's, you know, at one point that used to be some kind of ethno-nationalist talking point, that it's reality now. It's an absolute reality. This isn't just some made up tinfoil hat bullshit. You know, we are literally going to be a minority in our own country in about 10 years' time. That's factual. So when people say, oh, wait, 4 years, you know, the predictions are right. All these parties, and I've got to include UKIP in this, right? All these new parties, Advanced UK, UKIP, you know, they think they're going to go in and they can win elections. You can't. You know, you're talking about 10 or 8 years before they're viable to be able to go in there and make a difference. And by that time, it's going to be well over. It's going to be over in 4 years. In 4 years, we won't recognise this country anymore. It'll be unrecognisable. It's unrecognisable now. I'm not attacking UKIP. I'm just stating facts, Jack. We've got to face reality. Do you honestly think that UKIP has any chance of winning the next general election? Be honest. Now, I support Nick Tenconi. I love the guy, but I'm realistic. He's admitted himself that he's got to train 650 potential candidates. Then he's got to fund those candidates. It's all about money. Money's what holds you back when you're a political party. You can't just magically field 650 candidates. He's got to do it slowly. If there was a snap general election next month, UKIP wouldn't win it. Advance UK wouldn't win it. And I dared say that maybe even Reform would just scrape through. They might not get a majority in Parliament. They may just win it by the skin of their teeth. But we've got to be realistic. And I'm not bashing UKIP or anything. I'm just being realistic. Look how long it took the Reform Party to get 5 MPs in Parliament. It took them a better part of a decade to do it. It takes a huge amount of funding to make a party viable, which is why the Labour Party is collapsing, which is why the Tory Party is collapsing. They've lost a lot of membership. They've lost a lot of funding. I think it was reported last year, wasn't it, that the Conservative Party was nearly bankrupt. They didn't have enough money. Yeah, and they just don't have the membership to cover that sort of money. They've got to try and attract donors to their cause to boost them, to get that money in there, because membership alone won't achieve it. You need donors. That's good, Jack. By the way, I'm sorry about my comments about you earlier. Ignore what I said. Yeah, good, Jack. That's what I like to see. That's rational. That's rational. That's being polite. That's being considerate. That's really my study politics. See, I agree with you, right? They're putting pressure on Reform because they're snapping at the heels. And that's a good thing. But the thing is, I don't trust Reform. We shouldn't be having to pressure Reform to do the right thing, should we? And that's the whole point. Look at what's happening to the Reform Party. They were supposed to be the party of the people, weren't they? They said we're going to field everyday average people off the street. Loads of people were councillors, and what happened? They started getting rid of them because in their opinion, they were expressing views that the party didn't hold. Yet, fast forward a few months on from that, and the party itself now holds those opinions. The Reform Party would have been a better party without Nigel Farage at the helm. He needs to go. Richard Tice, Zai Youssef, all of them, they all need to go. They've turned the party into the Uniparty. It's the Unity Party personified. They've just recently had a defection from Labour. Again, it's filling up with Tories. It's filling up with the Labour Party. They're just becoming the Uniparty in one party instead of two separate entities. That's all that's happening to the Reform Party. Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Not Reform, dude. Conform. All rock cons join Reform. Yeah, exactly. They've just recently had another defection from the Labour Party as well. Yeah, so I think that covers that. I try not to talk about party politics because every time I do, it's just depressing, because I know myself, there's no political solution within the next 4 years. I know reform don't have it in them to do what we need them to do, because unfortunately they have a leader that can't be removed, that just blows with the political wind. He will go wherever the political wind is, and he's always behind the wave. He's not the one charging from the front, leading the way. He's the one that stands back and sees what happens. You know, he would be on the beaches of Normandy, and he would be standing back at the beach behind one of the landing craft, and they'd be picking his direction, looking to see which people were getting shot where, and then that's where he would run. He's not the person to lead the charge. He isn't. He's just not that sort of person. Yeah, Steve. It does. Yes, it does. It makes me boil my piss. God, you know, the one thing in this country that really annoys me, it's the political tribalism. It really does. It just annoys me so much, because if people could just put that aside and unify, the country would be so much better. Because every single party on the right has the same idea. They're all fighting for the same cause. They've all got the same policies. It's never a disagreement about what should be done with the country. It's just a disagreement about who's going to be the leader of it. And to me, it's just harkening back to the Tories again, isn't it? Because they always put party before country. And it's the same with some people in these little parties. They put party before country. And it's like, just get rid of your egos, and, you know, your job is to come together and protect the country. That's your goal. Work together for the betterment of the country. That's what we want to see, isn't it? I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Come together, do what's right for the country. And it's not about one party joining another. Oh, UKIP should join Advanced should join UKIP, and all that bullshit. It's like, just come together as a coalition and work together. That's what you need to do. If you need to drop all of your titles, all of your little titles for your little individual parties, and come together as one super party, so be it. Do that. Yeah. Exactly. The selfish ambition by people around you, and if you say and you get infected too. Yes. Yeah, you've not been listening, Jack. It's not going to happen. Yeah, there needs to be. I don't know how we do it. Maybe people in the chat can figure out a way to do this. But you need to create a system that only attracts the right people to the job. So I don't know how you'd do that. I don't know how you'd attract the right people to be members of parliament, because, you know, there's always going to be an element of power involved in it. And, you know, that sort of environment only ever seems to attract the narcissists, the ones that want power, the ones that will sacrifice everything to get there, including everybody around them. And that's what makes them politicians, isn't it? They're willing to sacrifice everybody and everybody around them to get to power. I don't know how we get around that, but it's obvious that we need some sort of system where we get the right sort of people in the job, not just narcissists that are out for their own agenda. Because that's what we've got at the minute. We've got a parliament packed full of narcissists. Don't give a shit about our country. They only care about their own agenda and their own self-importance, their money and power. That's all they care about. Well, that's why we're having this debate, isn't it? You know, what would be done? What could we do to What can be done? The question, nobody knows. I think the honest answer is nobody knows. I haven't got all the answers, and the politicians haven't got the answers either. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't got a clue. They go into that parliament. It's all a pantomime. It's all scripted. We know it's scripted because Dominic Cummings told us about what happens in the cabinet meetings. You know, the permanent secretary walks in, gives them all a folder. Yeah, here you go. This is what you're going to talk about. The minutes for the briefing are already written out. We just got to read it out and say it. And it's just pantomime. It's a script. It's a play. And it's like what people have been saying, not just me, other people have been saying it as well. If you want to enact real change in this country, then you're going to have to elect somebody or somehow remove the fifth column from within Whitehall, the civil service. They need to all go. And you need to get rid of the permanent secretaries. They all need to go. That's the only, you've got to remove those barriers before you can start to change this country. Because while they're still in those positions, nothing will change. You can't change it internally from Parliament because Parliament is broken. You can't fix the broken machine by using the broken machine to fix it. You can't. You've got to be on the outside of the machine and looking at it and fixing it from the outside. How we do that, I don't know. I haven't got a clue, but that's what needs to happen. You know, maybe the solution is to, you know, but it's not going to happen, is it? We haven't got anybody to do it. You would need a right-wing party to go in there like a wrecking ball and just win it or outright. It's not going to happen, though, because there's going to be so many different parties. There's going to be so many people voting for different parties. It's going to split the vote. I think that's a really good outcome. What's going to happen? You know, Reform might not win it. Conform might not win it. And it will just end up, they'll probably get, you know, enough votes so they're like able to form a coalition government. But what's that going to look like? It just doesn't look good politically. And that's why I keep saying I don't think there's a political solution to this at all. And I think the track we're on with this government, because even if Keir Starmer goes, like I've said, even if he goes, you're left with the absolute special needs shit show that is the front bench of the Labour Party. That's all you've got to choose from. If you look at the Labour Party as a whole, you think, holy shit, we are screwed. Because they're all activists. They're not competent people. They're just activists. They're just going to act on their ideology and try and implement it. And it's just going to fail. Everything they try to do, they're going to fail. They will fail. Somebody was talking earlier in the chat about, we need Sharia law in this country. They're trying to pander to the Muslims. They're trying to pander to all the other insane ideologies that they hold. Yeah, it's true though, isn't it, Steve? They're special needs. They are. If you go and look down the Labour Party front bench, it gets progressively worse. Right, guys, I've been talking enough. I'm at 1 hour, 15 minutes. These are going to get better. We're going to be able to look at the videos and stuff. We can talk about stuff. The new laptop is coming on Saturday, so that's going to be fun. Be able to live stream. I'll be able to invite people into the live stream and have conversations with them. That's going to be great. So I look forward to that. So watch out for Saturday. There may be a live stream just pop up out of nowhere, and just look out for it. Go and watch my video from today. It's a bit different. Meant to mention that. My video from today. I went and had a walk around Chesterfield yesterday and did a bit of chatting, looking around, and all that kind of thing. So go check it out. Go and give it some love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as well if you like my content. So yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. 43 people watching. That's amazing. And I shall see you all soon in the next video. This is Vindicator signing off. And again, thanks for subscribing. I'm nothing without you guys. Okay? See you all soon. This is Vindicator signing off.